Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and today I'm just be officially updating you on some more latest news. So I do expect more players to leave Manchester United since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival. We have seen around 4 or 5 players depart the football club. Well, it's 6 now players that have departed the football club because obviously we do know that Alexis Sanchez is on his way to Inter Milan. So obviously we do know Antonio Valencia left at the end of last season after he served 10 years at Manchester United. It got confirmed a couple of weeks ago that Joe Pereira's gone on loan to Hearts in Scotland. Obviously, Ander Herrera, of course, left the football club, and it was a shame that we didn't recruit a replacement for him. Obviously, we know that Marian Fellaini left the football club after he served 6 years at Manchester United, and of course, we do know that Romelu Lukaku, of course, left the football club a couple of weeks ago, and obviously, it was a shame that we didn't recruit a replacement for Romelu Lukaku, but I think it was good business in that aspect, of us getting rid of Romelu Lukaku, and obviously us generating a substantial amount for the flop, and it was good to see us, recoup the money that we did in the pay for him from Everton a couple of years ago and that. So I do believe more players will leave Manchester United. There's still uncertainty, regarding Paul Pogba's future and that. But the big breaking news now is in regards to Alexis Sanchez. Like I updated you on my previous video. Reportedly, Sanchez has now arrived in Milan. I think he's set to undergo his medical ahead of his loan move to Inter Milan and that. So now it has been confirmed. Reportedly, this loan deal will cost Manchester United around £6 million and that. It is a 10-month loan deal by the way. Obviously, there is no obligation to buy, for Inter Milan, to make the deal permanent next summer and that. But I did say, for the majority of the summer anyway, we'd been working on getting rid of Alexis Sanchez, but, we've also found it very, very difficult, to get rid of him for the majority of the summer, reflecting on his substantial wages, because we do know Sanchez is the highest paid player at the football club. He's also the highest paid player in the Premier League. I think he's potentially on around 400 grand a week, potentially rising to 500 grand a week, based on the image rights and the bonuses. And I did say his wages having a really bad effect on the football club and that. But reportedly, even despite him making a loan move to Inter Milan, I think we're still reportedly paying the majority of his substantial wage. So reportedly, we're still paying him around 300 grand a week. So obviously, he's still the second highest paid player at Manchester United. Actually, behind David De Gea, because obviously we do know now that David De Gea is on 375 grand a week and that. But he's set to undergo his medical with Inter Milan today, which is very, very good news. And obviously, we do know that Sanchez is going to be reuniting with Romelu Lukaku, of course, in the Inter Milan team. But I did say he would have been open anywhere, to making a return back to Italy, because he did have 5 successful years, with Udinese, when he was younger and that. And, Sanchez has been a huge disappointment for Manchester United. He actually has still got nearly nearly 3 years left on his contract and that. But Sanchez has been a huge disappointment since his arrival from Arsenal back in January 2018 and that. Obviously, we do know he came to the football club as part of a swap deal of Mkhitaryan going to Arsenal. But he's been a huge disappointment, Sanchez, and he hasn't lived up to expectation levels, as we all thought he would have done, because, he did have 4 good years with Arsenal before he came to Manchester United. He even played under Pep Guardiola's guidance, when he was younger at Barcelona and that, and he flourished under Pep Guardiola's guidance and that, but he just hasn't replicated many of this form at Manchester United. Obviously, we do know Sanchez has only managed 32 Premier League appearances and only scored 3 goals, and Sanchez has made 45 appearances in all competitions and only managed 5 goals and that, so obviously he has been a huge disappointment. Inter Milan are, paying some of his wages off. I think they're willing to pay they've agreed to pay around 4.5 million a year of, Sanchez's annual salary, but Sanchez's annual salary is around I think 20 odd £million a year in that. So we're still paying the majority of his wages in that. But it is a shame that Inter Milan, didn't agree an option to buy Sanchez at the end of the loan and that. But yeah, Inter Milan didn't, as you say anyway. There was hopeful that they could have completed a loan deal within the next 72 hours. But Inter Milan have been in negotiations with Manchester United for several weeks over getting a loan deal and that over the line. Obviously, Sanchez's agent the other week, I think he'd came to the UK obviously to negotiate Sanchez's loan move to Inter Milan and that. But Solskjaer confirmed, he gave his overarching view on the Sanchez speculation. Solskjaer did confirm that a number of clubs have been interested in him and that. Obviously, Roma inquired about getting Sanchez a couple of weeks ago, but actually Sanchez had turned down a move to Roma, and he did reportedly say a week or so ago that Sanchez was actually refusing to leave Manchester United and that. But Solskjaer, I think, has held negotiations with Sanchez regarding his future and that. And obviously Sanchez has been below on his fitness anyway. He's been working to full fitness. Obviously, we do know Sanchez hasn't even played, so far this season. That obviously wasn't even part of the pre-season squad, because throughout pre-season, Sanchez had been on Copa America duty with Chile and that, and I think he had sustained a hamstring injury and that. So obviously, he has been working to full fitness and all that. Obviously, Solskjaer, there's been a bit of change soon, because a couple of weeks ago, Solskjaer came out and he said, I think it was in his press conference prior to the Wolves game, he basically said that Sanchez still wants to be part of the squad this season, and he also basically said, he expects Sanchez to play a lot of games, once he's fully fit. And Solskjaer did say he does believe he will come good this season, but there was reports coming out a couple of weeks ago saying that Sanchez, could have been sent to train with the under-23 reserves in order, to force him out of the football club and that. And this is obviously what it basically said. But like I said, Solskjaer denied these speculations and that. But I did say, his wages have been really having a bad effect on the football club and that. And he did reportedly say anyway, even if Sanchez, had stayed at the football club, he would have mainly only been playing in the Carabao Cup and of course the Europa League in that, because we do know anyway that Sanchez is behind the likes of Daniel James, is behind Martial, of course he's behind Rashford and that. So I don't think there's any point in Sanchez being here anyway. And look at his age, he's 30 years of age now, nearly 31 years of age, so he obviously, hasn't got a future at the football club and that. But I'm glad the transfer target of Alexis Sanchez now has finally, come to an end in that. I was a bit, I don't know, about the other week, I thought there was a possibility chance that Sanchez, could have remained in the football club and that. But I did say the only way we were going to get rid of him is because of putting him on a long season loan. And that's, like I said, Sanchez still on the contract here until 2022. So he will be with Inter Milan for 10 months from now, and then probably could end up, making a return back to Manchester United and that. But I would have preferred us, to get rid of him permanently and that, because I said he has been one of the problematic players in the football club and that. And obviously last season, sustained quite a few injuries, and I think he has become injury prone, since he's become a Manchester United player and that. But yeah, very, very happy that Sanchez is going to be going. It confirmed yesterday, reports come out and said, Man United and Inter Milan have agreed a loan deal, and that is a 10-month loan deal. Inter Milan are going to pay some of his wages, but we're still paying the majority of his wages, is what it basically said. But it's just a shame there's no obligation to make his move to Inter Milan permanent next summer and that. But probably, will succeed Inter Milan and that, because like I said, he did have 5 good years in Italy, of course, when he was younger, Alexis Sanchez. And yeah, very, very delighted about the news. Very, very delighted about the news, like I currently said and that. So yeah, that's really the big breaking news to give you an update on about Alexis Sanchez. And obviously, we do know that, I think anyway, more players do need to leave Manchester United. Sanchez hasn't only been the problematic player at the football club. I think the likes of, Darmian needs to leave. I also think, Rojo needs to leave the football club as well, because they're 2 problematic players. And, with Darmian, he hasn't really been given the chance as a Manchester United player. And, Darmian has been a huge disappointment for the football club, Same thoughts about Rojo. I think Rojo, to be fair to Rojo, I'll credit him, he did well throughout pre-season. That Rojo's just got under 2 years left on his contract with Manchester United, but hasn't really been given the chance really, Rojo. And I think his Manchester United career anywhere has been mainly affected with the amount of injuries he has sustained and that. So if we could sell Diamond and Rojo, I think we could generate, around maybe 30 or 35 million pounds for their departures. But they are 2 of our fringe players, are Rojo and Diamond. But they're 2 players, of course, that do need to leave the football club. And don't forget, we have got until the 2nd of September, to negotiate the sale, of players and that. So Sanchez is going to be going on loan to Inter Milan. But we've got to now work on getting rid of Darmian and Rojo and that. But there is quite a few problematic players at the football club. I've got the same thoughts about Nemanja Matic. I know he's not going to be leaving the football club this season anywhere, but I think he should, because he isn't good enough for Manchester United. He's too inconsistent, he's too slow, and he makes that midfield, of course, look totally imbalanced and that. He's another problematic player at the football club, is Nemanja Matic and that. But yeah, I do believe, that more players do need to be sold and that. But like I did say, we have got a lot of players on big contracts contract, you know, it's going to help us, you know, getting rid of Alexis Sanchez, even though we are still paying the majority of his wages. At least it's not as much as, you know, as we was paying, you know, when he was at Manchester United and that. You know, we've got Pogba on just under 300 grand a week. You know, we've got Rashford and Martial, I think, on around 200 grand a week and that. You've got David De Gea, of course, who was on 375 grand a week. So yeah, we have got players on big contracts, of course. But I did say, you know, we can afford to overpay for players and give players big contracts, you know, because we're a massive club and, of course, we have got massive revenues in that. And I did say in these markets of this day and age anyway, you know, you've got to overpay for players. But like I did say, our expectations this season is probably, you know, to finish in that top four. And obviously we do know Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has got to exceed these expectations. Perhaps, you know, maybe win some silverware, because I have been frustrated, you know, with the lack of silverware in the last 6 years. But I did give you an overall analysis on it, and I did say I don't like the way the football club has been run anywhere in the last 6 or 7 years. But like I said, yeah, so our expectations this season probably will be to finish in that top four. Like I said, Solskjaer's got to exceed these expectations. I did initially say our aspirations, you know, will be that top four in the next couple of seasons, and that it will be that top four will be our aspirations in the next couple of seasons, and that, because I think we're at least a couple of years off for mounting any kind of title challenge up, or of course winning the league. But looking at the dimension of this football club, you know, looking at the history of this football club, you know, I think, you know, we should be up there challenging and of course winning silverware and that. You know, we have failed to do that in the last 6 years or so. But I'm hopeful that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer can succeed at Manchester United. You know, I've seen slight vast improvements this season than what I saw last season, because last season was a huge disappointment. Obviously, you know, we finished 6th. Obviously, you know, we failed to win many silverware, and of course, we failed to qualify for the Champions League. And this is like why I did say, you know, certain players at a certain calibre and level throughout the course of summer, you know, would have had reservations about joining the football club, because obviously, you know, we're not in a Champions League football, and we've actually failed to qualify for the Champions League 3 times out of the 6 seasons, you know, since Alex Ferguson's retirement. So that just indicates how inconsistent, you know, we have been in the last 6 years or so. But I do believe, you know, the players we was in for throughout the course of the summer who we didn't manage to get, I do believe, you know, we'll probably reignite our interest in them in January. So I think we'll probably go back in for Bruno Fernandes in January. I think we may go back in for Christian Eriksen, even though his preference is moved to Madrid. You know, we could go back in for maybe even Milinkovic Savic, who was in for throughout the course of summer. We could go back in for Dybala. You know, was tentatively linked with Dybala. You know, Dybala wasn't one of our main priority targets, as you said, but actually Bruno Fernandes was one of our main priority targets, you know, throughout the course of the summer. And I would have been excited about the prospects of Bruno Fernandes, you know, playing alongside Paul Pogba and that in our midfield, because I do believe, you know, they would have complemented each other, you know, fantastically well. Obviously, don't forget, went in for Mandzukic, you know, towards near deadline day, went in for Mandzukic and that. But I think the board had reservations about recommending Mandzukic, and even though he's got a good pedigree and he's had a good career, obviously because of his age, you know, he's 33 years of age as Mandzukic, and we did, you know, go in for a few players, you know, who could have replaced Romelu Lukaku throughout the course of the summer transfer window, but we didn't manage to get a replacement for Romelu Lukaku and that. But I think, you know, the vast majority of Manchester United fans, including me, you know, give the board a lot of criticism, because we probably believe that the board are clueless. You know, we've also given Ed Woodward a lot of criticism. We've also, you know, give, you know, the Glazers a lot of criticism, because obviously we're demanding Ed Woodward and of course the Glazers out of the football club. But I think the board had come to terms and they'd realised that they didn't back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer enough, you know, throughout the course of the summer transfer window, even though the board did assure that it would have been backed throughout the course of the summer. But obviously the board didn't get all the players that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, of course, wanted to recommend in. You know, obviously we spent £148 million throughout the course of summer on Daniel James, Wan-Bissaka and Harry Maguire, and we have seen glimpses of what good signings, you know, they've proven to be so far. You know, Daniel James had a fantastic start to his Manchester United career. My overarching view on Daniel James is, though, you know, he's still a prospect, he needs time to develop, and I think he's developing really, really well. He's obviously scored 2 goals so far this season as Daniel James, but yeah, you know, he's still needs time to develop. You know, Wan-Bissaka, he's been fantastic so far. Obviously, he's our first choice right back this season. We have got quite a few fullbacks, but obviously we do know that Wan-Bissaka is our first choice right back and that. And I do like Wan-Bissaka a lot. I think he intercepts the ball really, really well. You know, he shows that ability to play out from the back. His distribution, that's really, really good. And I think he's replicated, you know, what he did, you know, with Crystal Palace last season, because he only made his senior debut before Crystal Palace back in February 2018, which was obviously last year. And I think Harry Maguire, prior to the, you know, Crystal Palace game, I think overall Harry Maguire, you know, has done really, really well so far. So I think he's had a fantastic start to his Manchester United career. So it was good that we got that experienced centre half in. You know, it was also good, you know, that we got that right back in. But you know, we are still lacking in that midfield, and obviously that was one of the priority areas, of course, where we wanted to strengthen up. Obviously throughout the course of summer as well, don't forget, you know, was in search for a right winner. Don't forget. But you know, we didn't get that right winner, which is a shame to see. I think we're going to go back in for Jadon Sancho next summer as well. You know, I would be excited about the prospect of Jadon Sancho. You know, playing alongside the likes of Rashford, Martial, and Daniel James and that. And I also believe that it would be a good upgrade to the likes of Lingard and Mata, and that would Jadon Sancho. Obviously, as I updated you the other week, it did say that Jadon Sancho is set to leave Borussia Dortmund next summer and that, but he's going to cost us a substantial amount, but we have got the financial power to pay that. He's going to cost us in the region of around £100 million is Jadon Sancho, but don't forget, we identified Jadon Sancho as our #1 priority target back in the January transfer window, but I did say, the main factor reason why we missed out on him this summer is obviously, with our failure to qualify for the Champions League and that, and Jadon Sancho is a very, very good player. I think he's made about around 60 first team appearances for Borussia Dortmund. He's been their first team a couple of years. I think he's scored around 16, 17 goals, provided around 20 odd assists and that, so his stats are very, very impressive, but he's predominantly a winner anywhere, is Jadon Sancho, but you can also play him centrally, so I'm hopeful, that we can get Jadon Sancho on the board next summer. He's still got just under 3 years left on his contract, because he's under contract with Borussia Dortmund until 2022. Obviously, Borussia Dortmund have lost quite a few of their key players in recent years. They've lost Ousmane Dembele to Barcelona, they lost Aubameyang, they lost Pulisic, but they generated a substantial amount, of course, for their departures. And obviously, Borussia Dortmund only paid around, $7 or $8 million for Jadon Sancho from Man City in that. So if they were to sell him for £100 million, they would, make a huge profit on the player. But he's, I think if he comes back, Jadon Sancho's obviously had experience of playing in the Premier League, because he did serve a couple of years with Man City, and he never really got the chance at Man City. He never got granted to get into that first team. This is the main factor reason why I left Manchester City, Jadon Sancho. But I think he's been fantastic at Borussia Dortmund. But I think if he was to come back to Premier League, it would create a better platform for him. It would help him with his development and that. And he's obviously not going to intend on spending the rest of his career with Borussia Dortmund, is Jadon Sancho and that. But like I said, predominantly a right winner. So hopefully, we can get him on the board next summer. I'm very, very hopeful about that indeed. But like I said, we have got big ambitions for the future, and obviously, want to get back to winning silverware and that. And this is something obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to bring back to the football club. He also wants to bring the fear factor back to the football club, and that fear factor, hasn't been there, since the Alex Ferguson era and that. Since it hasn't been there, since the Alex Ferguson era. But like I did say, I've seen slight improvements this season. Not much improvement, like I said, we did really, really well throughout pre-season. But so far this season in the Premier League, 3 games have gone. Obviously, won 4-0 against Chelsea, drew with Wolves 1-1, and of course lost them at home to Crystal Palace 2-1 for the first time in our Premier League history and that. So we've had a pretty bad start to the season, but I do believe we'll look a bit better now in that attacking third of the pitch, because there's that pace now in that attacking third of the pitch, and that's obviously something we lacked last season, was that pace, and this is why last season wasn't scoring enough goals. This is why, of course, there wasn't ruthless enough in front of a goal. But we do look slightly better in that attacking third of the pitch, because you've got Daniel James of electrifying pace. You've also you've got Martial with good pace. Obviously, we know with Anthony Martial, he's obviously got a thigh injury, Anthony Martial. I think it did say yesterday his injury was supposed to be further assessed, and we was waiting on the scan results for Anthony Martial, but I'm hopeful that his injury is not too severe. Possibly Martial could miss the game at the weekend against Southampton with his thigh injury he has sustained. He sustained this in our 2-1 defeat to Crystal Palace, but we do know at the start of the season it got confirmed that Martial has been given that number 9 shirt. Obviously, he's playing more central, because he seems to be more effective in that central position does Anthony Martial. Obviously, we do know he's staying at the football club. Martial got a 5-year deal back in the January transfer window, and I think he's had a great start to this season as Anthony Martial, so he is a very, very imperative player. Obviously, he was relentlessly into a move away from the football club back under the Jose Mourinho era, because actually Jose Mourinho wanted to, at the time, get rid of Anthony Martial, but he has scored 50 goals for Manchester United. Obviously, he scored his 50th goal against Wolves, did Martial and that, and I think the majority of his 4 years or so he has been here, I think he's done really, really well. He's now into his 5th season as a Manchester United player, is Martial, but he was inconsistent in the last couple of months of last season, just like Rashford was, but I still said that Rashford and Martial are still the long-term solutions for Manchester United. They haven't quite emulated that level yet, but I do believe, they are going to get to that level without a shadow of a doubt, because Martial's developing well, only 23, Rashford's developing well, only at 21 years of age. I think Martial's finishing's improved, he's good at, his speed's really, really good in that, and I think think with Rashford, you know, when he's on form, he's good at receiving the ball, he's good at getting them runs in behind and that. But they've obviously both got a fantastic pace and that. So I think we look much better now in the attacking third of the pitch. My thoughts on Jesse Lingard, you know, he's obviously more experienced than Martial and Rashford is Lingard. And Lingard was also inconsistent in the last couple of months of last season. But, you know, I think Lingard, you know, he's doing quite well for Manchester United. You know, don't forget you can put him in number 10. You can also put him on the right. Obviously, Lingard is a preferred choice over Juan Mata and that. But I think we'll look much better now in that attacking third of the pitch. I also believe we'll look better defensively. We do look a bit better defensively in that. You know, last season we conceded 54 goals in 38 Premier League games. Obviously, you know, that was our highest total, of course, in 40 years. And I don't think we're going to concede as many goals as we did last season, to be quite honest with you, because I think, you know, Harry Maguire has addressed our defensive deficiencies. But we do look better defensively. But I still think we need someone in that can create more chances. You know, because we're still not being clinical enough as we should be. We was clinical against Chelsea, but we weren't clinical enough against Wolves. We weren't clinical enough against Crystal Palace, and that even though against Palace we had over 20 odd shots, and we just couldn't put all the ball in the back of the net. And you know, that's just the way football works. So sometimes, just the way football works sometimes. And but yeah, I do believe, you know, we look much better defensively. But for me, we need someone who can create more chances. We need someone who's better at taking set pieces. We need to see more leadership in the team. That's also something else that Manchester United are lacking in that. But overall, you know, we have got a pretty decent squad. You know, like I said, it isn't good enough to win the league, but I would say, you know, it's definitely good enough for the top four finishing that. But I do believe anywhere, like I said, I think we need to orchestrate on, you know, selling at least one central defender, because we've got a lot of central defenders now. You know, we've got Harry Maguire. We've got Victor Lindelof. Obviously, you know, Harry Maguire and Victor Lindelof are obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first choice centre-backs, Harry Maguire and Victor Lindelof and that. And, you know, I think Harry Maguire is obviously our best option than what we've got in our backline at the moment and that. You know, I think with Victor Lindelof, you know, these question marks around him, you know, can he keep the consistency up? And I do believe, you know, he can keep the consistency up. Lindelof, I know he had a pretty bad game against, you know, Crystal Palace and that, but I think prior to that he's mainly done well. You know, this is Lindelof's third season now as a Manchester United player. You know, Lindelof did struggle in his first season with the football club, but then there was vast improvements in his second season. That his passing was good, his distribution was good, and he's mainly replicated that so far this season as Victor Lindelof. So I think he's flourishing at Manchester United, and we did pay a reasonable figure for him. You know, we paid, was it around £31 million for him from Benfica and that. But I think he's doing really, really well at Manchester United and that. You know, and obviously Harry Maguire and Victor Lindelof, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first choice, especially in the Premier League. Maybe in the cup games, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you know, may rotate a little bit and that. But yeah, we've got a lot of central defenders. We've got Chris Smalling, we've got Phil Jones. You know, they've been two long-serving players at the football club. They've nearly been at the football club now a decade of both players. You know, they've both been here since the Alex Ferguson era. But for me, they're no longer good enough to represent Manchester United. Chris Smalling and Phil Jones. So I do believe, you know, we need to orchestrate on, you know, getting rid of them. It won't happen this season. I think in the aspect of us, I think it was in that aspect it was bad business from the football club, you know, giving Smalling and Jones, you know, long-term contracts last season. So they're two problematic players the football club, and obviously they're not going to really get the chances this season anywhere. So I don't really see the point in them being here. I think Everton inquired about getting Smalling on loan, you know, near deadline day, but obviously, you know, Man United had turned this loan offer down and that. Obviously, Eric Bailly, you know, he's injured. Obviously, you know, he's out until Christmas over a knee injury. And I think, you know, with Eric Bailly, he's a very imperative player, and he has got a great potential in that, and he's good when he's fully fit. But like I said, I think Eric Bailly's Manchester United career has been mainly affected with the amount of injuries he has sustained and that. So it has really taken its toll on Eric Bailly. I think if the right offer came in for him, we probably would consider offloading him and that. We'd probably want to at least recoup the initial £30 million that we did pay for him from Villarreal back in 2016 and that. Obviously we've got Alex Tuanzebe. I think, you know, he's going to be a big part of the squad this season. You know, he should get given his chances. With Tuanzebe, I think he did well throughout pre-season. You know, the games that he did participate in did Alex Tuanzebe. Obviously he's got that experience now anyway, because he gained that experience last season on his loan spell with Aston Villa, and I thought he did really, really well on his loan spell with Aston Villa, you know, Alex Tuanzebe. So I think he's going to be staying at Manchester United now, at least for this present time anywhere. So I think we need to orchestrate on, you know, selling at least one central defender in that. But I believe Harry Maguire and Victor Lindelof, you know, complement each other really, really well. And I do believe, you know, they can emulate into like a Vidic and Ferdinand, you know, because they were a great centre-back partnership, you know, back under the Alex Ferguson era and that. But I said, I'm hopeful this team now, we've got what we've got now under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you know, can replicate, you know, what the team did under Alex Ferguson, you know, for 26, 27 years of success in that. And like I did say to you guys, you know, no one's going to ever follow Alex Ferguson's legacy. You know, we're never going to achieve what we achieved under Alex Ferguson, but that's obviously something we've got to accept. But we just want to be back, you know, to being a competitive elite level football club, and that's the most essential thing. And, you know, talking about that midfield as well, you know, I hope we can do everything we can, you know, to try and convince Paul Pogba to remain at the football club, because obviously we do know that Paul Pogba is a very, very imperative player. And I've said, you know, based on our failure, you know, to land a midfielder, you know, throughout the course of the summer, you know, I think it's very, very essential that we do keep Paul Pogba at the football club, and that, you know, because we have seen Paul Pogba at his best as a Manchester United player, and you know, when he's at his best, he's like two players in one. You know, I think you see the best of Pogba, you know, when he's freed up, you know, he's good at feeding the attackers and that. And you know, we have seen glimpses of Paul Pogba's best form. I think he started this season overall really, really well. Well, he started this season well. I thought he was good, you know, throughout pre-season. Obviously, you know, Paul Pogba's recently been subjected to online racial abuse, you know, following his penalty miss against Wolves and that. And I think, you know, Paul Pogba has actually, you know, handled the situation, you know, quite well. I think Paul Pogba's handled the situation, you know, quite well, you know, to be quite honest with you. But, you know, Paul Pogba's brother, you know, Memphis Pogba, you know, he's come out again and he's fueled more transfer speculation. And he does actually believe that, you know, Paul Pogba, you know, would, you know, represent Real Madrid, you know, fantastically well. And, you know, Memphis still believes that, you know, his brother Paul Pogba, you know, could still end up, you know, signing for Real Madrid. Because we do know for the entirety of this summer that Paul Pogba's been heavily linked to a move to Real Madrid. Obviously, he's been heavily linked to a move to Real Madrid and that, and his first choice preference has been Real Madrid, and his likely destination, of course, has been Real Madrid. But for me, the stumbling block of Paul Pogba leaving Manchester United, I think, has been, you know, the substantial amount, you know, we've put on Paul Pogba, because we're actually adamant that he's not for sale. But if we had, you know, if it come to the point where we had no choice to sell him, you know, I think we'd obviously, you know, demand that we want around 150 or 160 million pounds. Obviously, you know, some reports actually said we wanted around 180 million pounds for Paul Pogba. That's just over double than what we initially paid for him from Juventus back in 2016. But I think Real Madrid are unwilling to pay, you know, up to 180 million pounds for his services, because obviously Real Madrid have already spent a substantial amount this summer. You know, they've spent 300 million pounds on what, 5 players is it, or is it over 300 million pounds to spend? You know, Real Madrid have generated some of that 300 million pounds back because they've sold some players. I think they've generated around 100 million pounds and that. But obviously, Zinedine Zidane has obviously all summer, you know, it's been obviously, you know, Zinedine Zidane's number one priority target. I say Christian Eriksen obviously has been on their agenda as well, but I think Real Madrid's preference is Paul Pogba over Christian Eriksen. Probably Christian Eriksen will be a cheaper solution for Real Madrid, you know, than Paul Pogba and that. But yeah, they're still working on getting the deal and that over the line are Real Madrid and that. But obviously, you know, Solskjaer has spoken to Paul Pogba a lot. I think he's spoken to him a lot throughout pre-season. He also has talked a lot about Paul Pogba, you know, because he's praised Paul Pogba and he does know how much an imperative player he is. And Solskjaer did tell Paul Pogba that he does not need to leave Manchester United to fulfil his ambitions. But, you know, early on this summer, I think it was back in June, Paul Pogba confirmed that he wanted to leave Manchester United, as you all know. He publicly admitted this, and he did say, you know, he's seeking for a new challenge in it, and obviously, you know, he wanted to leave Manchester United, you know, to rejuvenate his career. But Paul Pogba's agent, Mini Raiola, you know, he's had his overarching view on the speculation of his client and that. You know, he basically said at the start of pre-season that, you know, Paul Pogba's in the process of leaving Manchester United and that. But Paul Pogba has still got 2 years left on his contract with Man United, with an option to extend it by a third year and that. And Paul Pogba is not only our most expensive signing, he's also one of the highest paid players at the football club. He's also a World Cup winner as well. But I know there's been, you know, talks about Paul Pogba, you know, possibly, you know, making a return back to Turin and that, because he did have 4 good years in Turin, did Paul Pogba. But, you know, also Juventus have done good business, you know, throughout the course of the summer. You know, they got, you know, Aaron Ramsey, Adrian Rabiot. You know, they spent a substantial amount on Delete. You know, they spent a substantial amount on Cristiano Ronaldo last summer and that. But I did say with Juventus, they'd have to offload a couple of their players anyway, essential players to fund the move for Paul Pogba, because I don't think, you know, Juventus would be able to afford him outright. right. But Paul Pogba could possibly, you know, remain at the football club. But he actually indicated out that Paul Pogba indicated out that he could still leave Manchester United this summer and that. But I'm very, very hopeful, you know, that we can keep him at the football club. And if we can keep him at the football club, you know, we've got to avoid Paul Pogba, you know, sustaining any kind of injury in that. Because we haven't really got a backup to him in that. You know, we haven't got any midfielders that, you know, can replicate, you know, Paul Pogba in that. They're not in Paul Pogba's calibre or level. You know, look at our other midfielders. You know, we've got McTominay, we've got Pereira, and of course we have got Fred in that. You know, we have seen glimpses of how good they are. You know, but I'm still very, very sceptical about them. You know, I don't know if they're the long-term solutions for Man United. I don't know if they've got all the attributes to succeed at Manchester United. Well, McTominay, I think he started this season well. Obviously, he's been mainly playing alongside Paul Pogba in our midfield. But McTominay, I think, should improve this season, and that, you know, he did well towards the back end of last season. My thoughts on Pereira, same thoughts about him. I think he's done well in the games, you know, he has played in that. So. And, you know, with Fred as well, you know, Fred, he's been mainly inconsistent, you know, since he come at Manchester United. He's only been at Man United since last summer. I thought, to be fair to Fred, I thought he was an exceptional player at Shakhtar Donetsk, but he hasn't, for large portions of, you know, his Manchester United career so far, he hasn't really replicated, you know, what he did at Shakhtar Donetsk, Fred. But Solskjaer expects better things from Fred this season. I think also Fred did well towards the back end of last season. But I've got to be honest, I think Fred is a much better solution than the Nemanja Matic. I think Fred's more mobile on the ball. I think he's a better on the ball and all of that. But yeah, I've got a lot of concerns about that midfield. But like I did say, it was obviously going to be hard for us, you know, to address all the problematic areas in one summer transfer window and that. But obviously this has only been Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first summer anyway as Manchester United manager, so you can quite say he's still in the process of rebuilding. But I think regardless of what happens this season, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's job should be safe. As long as, you know, we're not in mid-table or we're not fighting relegation, I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's job, you know, should be safe, because I think the board have assured that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will be back in January. He also will be back next summer and that. So definitely further more investment is needed in the January transfer window and that. But I do believe, you know, the majority, I do believe the majority of the young players, you know, will get given their chances this season. Well, I hope they can get given their chances this season, you know, the young players. And like I said, we've got quite a few young upcoming players now. You know, like I said, Mason Greenwood, Chong, and Angel Gomez. I do believe, you know, they're going to be a big part of the squad this season. Obviously, Mason Greenwood this season has not yet started a game from the start, but he has made 3 substitute appearances and that. And I think Greenwood has got all the ingredients, you know, required to become a huge success at Manchester United. And he's all, like I said, he's only 17 years of age. I think Chong will get given his chances this season, like I said. But we have got quite a few young upcoming players. But I thought there was a fruition throughout pre-season. I think so far the youngsters that have played this season have also, you know, been a fruition in that. But I think, you know, they will do really, really well. If I'm going to be quite honest with you. But for me, like I said, you know, we have been inconsistent in the last 6 years. But I did say the main factor reasons why we've been inconsistent, because obviously we've been mismanaged. This is the main factor reason, of course, why we have been underachieving and that. But like I said, a hell of a lot of money has been invested into the football club. You know, £148 million has been spent this summer under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Just under £400 million was spent under Jose Mourinho. He recommended 11 players in. You know, there's still 10 of them players are here now that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's inheriting. You know, obviously, you know, Louis van Gaal brought a lot of players in, but quite a lot of them have left now. And, you know, quite a lot of money was spent under Louis van Gaal. Just over 200 million was spent under Louis van Gaal, you know, and Solskjaer's still inheriting some of them. You know, there was David Moyes here, we spent just under £67 million on Juan Mata and Fellaini. Juan Mata, of course, is still in from the David Moyes and Herrera. So just under £1 billion has been spent at the football club in the last 6 years. Quite a lot of money was spent under the Alex Ferguson era. Obviously, you know, if you want to take into account what was spent under Alex Ferguson, you know, obviously it's way over £1 billion, of course, that the football club have spent in that. But like I did say, always spending big on players, always getting them Galactico players doesn't always guarantee you success, and that's been proven in the last 6 years also with Manchester United. But we've also, you know, we've got a history of spending big on players, you know, and overpaying for players. You know, look what in recent years, look at how much we've spent on players. You know, we spent £75 million on Romelu Lukaku, obviously, and we know now he's gone anywhere, so we've generated that money back, which is good. We spent £89 million on Paul Pogba. We spent £80 million on Harry Maguire this summer. That is our second most expensive signing, just behind Paul Pogba. He's also the second most expensive signing in the Premier League, and he's the most expensive defender spending out in the world. And Wan-Bissaka's in on that list of one of our most expensive signings who we paid £50 million. So Fred, we paid just under £50 million for him. I agreed that we overpaid for him as well. We paid just under £60 million for Di Maria back under the Louis van Gaal era. So yeah, we have got a history of spending a big on players. You know, we spent quite a bit on Anthony Martial. You know, especially for the teenager, because I think we got Anthony Martial, was it at the age of 19 and that, you know, we got him and we paid, was it £36 million for him, you know, it potentially rises up to 57 or 58 million pounds, you know, based on the goals and achievements and that. You know, we spent quite a bit on Luke Shaw as well. So yeah, we've got a history of spending a big on players and that, but like I said, we can obviously, you know, afford to do this because obviously we're one of the richest clubs and that in the world. But like I said, I'm hopeful, you know, that he can work out under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and that. You know, Solskjaer's got that experience of a manager. Like I said, you know, he proved himself last season when he was the interim manager of Manchester United in his first 3 months at the football club and that. Obviously, we know it's all gone wrong, you know, since he has got the job permanently. You know, he won a couple of Norwegian titles there with Mold, but Solskjaer hasn't really got the experience of managing, you know, to the highest level. And that's an element of concern if you want to put it that way. And I thought it was a great player for Manchester United for 11 years, because I thought he flourished under Alex Ferguson's guidance, did Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and that. But I do believe we will have a better season this season, and I think we can still finish in the top 4. You know, it's only earlier on in the season that I'm hopeful this season as well that we can improve our record against the top 6 sides. That's something else I want us to currently doing that. But like I said, I think the main formations I think that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will go with this season is probably that 4-2-3-1 formation. That's what I think he'll mainly go with this season. He'll go with different formation. He may go with the 4-3-3 a couple of times. Could even go, you know, with the 4-2-1-2 or something like that. But I think he'll mainly go with the 4-2-3-1 formation this season. But in every game he'll probably, you know, rotate, and that will Solskjaer. He'll probably rotate and all that, but I'll still say I'm backing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He's our 4th manager, you know, since Alex Ferguson's retirement and that. You know, like I said, you know, we haven't got the structure, you know, to keep sacking managers. You know, we've already sacked 3 managers, you know, since Alex Ferguson's retirement, and you know, we're not really known for a sacking club and that. But like I said, you know, we have got quite a few injuries. I said Eric Bay's out until Christmas. Luke Shaw now has obviously, you know, got a hamstring injury. You know, he also came off injured in the Crystal Palace game. I hope his injury is not too severe. He said he could be out for at least up to a month, could Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw's a very imperative player. Even though he hasn't had a great start to this season, but reflecting on his performances last season, you know, Luke Shaw won the double player of the season. That, and obviously we do know he's our first choice left back. Foster Mensah, of course, is a long-term absence. He's obviously, you know, out with an injury. I think Demetri Mitchell, you know, was injured as well, you know, throughout pre-season. Diego Dalot, of course, is out with injury until after the international break. That got confirmed before the Crystal Palace game and all that. But I did say, you know, prior to the, you know, this summer transfer window, you know, we haven't been competitive enough in the, you know, recent windows. You know, we didn't get anyone in January. Obviously, you know, we didn't get our number 1 targets last summer. So analysing our recruitment policy, you know, it hasn't been that very good, you know, in the last couple of windows prior to this summer and that. And Solskjaer throughout the course of summer anyway, you know, was speaking about our recruitment policy. He was speaking about our recruitment policy and that. So yeah, the news is Sanchez is leaving Manchester United anyway. You know, he's going on a 10-month loan to Inter Milan, which is very good. We're still going to pay the majority of his wages. We're still giving him £300 a week, so he's still the 2nd highest paid player at Manchester United, despite him on the verge of joining Inter Milan on loan. Inter Milan, I think, are willing to pay around £4.5 million a year of Sanchez's wages and that. So Inter Milan are only paying around £100,000 a week or something like that. But yeah, it has now been confirmed that Sanchez is leaving the football club. I am very delighted about it. And like I said, you know, I wanted to get back to winning Super Bowl because, you know, we are the most successful team in England, you know, historically, you know, 13 Premier League, you know, 20, of course, more in all. Obviously, you know, one of the club's greatest achievements, of course, you know, came back in 1999 when we won the treble. Obviously, that was one of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's most iconic moments as a player in that. And obviously, you know, won 3 back-to-back titles, you know, back in 2007, 2008, and of course 2009. So obviously with Man City, they're looking to match that, you know, this season, because if they do win the league this season, City, you know, they've won 3 back-to-back titles and all that. But like I did say, my Southampton Man United preview will be coming up probably tomorrow or on Friday sometime. It is at St Mary's. Southampton have had a great start to the Premier League season. You know, they've lost 2 and I think they've won 1. You know, I think they won in the Carabao Cup against Fulham, was it yesterday as well. I think it's also the EFL Cup draw tonight. Well, Carabao Cup draw. Is it the Carabao Cup draw tonight? I think it is the Carabao Cup draw tonight. So I will be, you know, keeping you up to date with that anyway. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do consider subscribing, as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.